We are here with Michael Kelly. And Michael, I want to start off asking, I wasn't even expecting to see you in season 3 of House of Cards, let alone you have such a big role on the show in season 3. You're pretty much the lead character in the first episode of the show, bumping Kevin Spacey's screen time. What was that like, the first of just coming back this season?
Well, I mean, it was, first of all, it was, what an incredible opportunity, I mean, that part was certainly amazing. But, when we finished season 2, Beau Willimon, our incredible showrunner, writer, said, it's a cliffhanger and that's the way we're leaving it. And then, I was shooting Everest out of the country, and all of a sudden my daddy emails me and he's like, dude, you look pretty dead to me. And then it just kind of kept going from there. People were like, yeah, dude, you look dead. I was like, no, I was breathing. Anyways, long story short, it was sort of, this moment of like, oh, well, it is House of Cards. They don't hesitate to kill people. I was like, maybe they changed their mind or whatever. And then when I finally talked to Beau, like, insecure actor, I was just freaked out about it for a little while. But then he's like, dude, I told you were coming back. And then when I got that first script, I was, as thrilling as it was, I was also terrified. I don't think I've ever been challenged as an actor like that. And so that part was really frightening.
Yeah, so you knew the whole time you were coming back, or at least that's what they'd told you. It wasn't like you were left up in the air about, like, well, we'll see how season 2's received.
We'll see if the fans like you or not.
Yeah. We'll make people think you're dead, and then we'll see if they like that. Then we'll just go with it.
Exactly. We let the fans decide.
Mm. Do you think if you were nominated for an Emmy this season, you'd submit that first episode? You're just in so much of it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think if I were, I would lose my mind. But I don't know. I mean, I love. I certainly love that last episode as well. The sort of the Rachel episode, when that goes down. But I don't know. I would probably let Beau Willimon pick. I'm not real good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that the final episode with Rachel. Like, for pretty much 2 seasons, maybe a little bit longer, this is sort of where Doug and Rachel's relationship was heading, and you could tell it was going to meet this crisis point. You didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but it was sort of a long time coming that he'd have to make that decision about Rachel. And how do you feel about that decision he came to make?
Look, I mean, I think ultimately it was the only decision he could make, if indeed that whole arc of the season was about him getting back to where he felt he belonged. We tried to make it that, not just about the recovery physically from the TBI and whatnot, but about him getting back to where he belongs. So ultimately, it was the only decision he could make. And funny enough, it didn't happen until we were in like the 10th episode. Beau Willimon came to me. She was going to live. He was going to let her go, because if you think about it, she gives a very compelling argument. I honestly believe, and I think that the character obviously believed, that he would not ever see her again. But he couldn't leave that sense of, well, what if? He couldn't go back to Frank and again say it's all good if it wasn't all good.
Yeah, like Doug was someone who was so, like, his loyalty for Frank and him wanting to serve him, and just sort of like political sort of calculations that we for him, like, a tough decision for him to make, like, and probably the toughest decision we've seen him have to make. What was it like, sort of weighing that sort of like loyalty to Frank, but the emotional attachment he had to Rachel?
I kind of lost you for a minute there.
Sorry.
It went out. It's okay. But I didn't quite get what you said. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said, what was it like weighing the emotional attachment he had for Rachel with the loyalty he had for Frank? Because this was a tough decision for him to make.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he loved her, and that was probably the hardest thing that Doug ever, obviously probably the hardest thing he ever had to do. So emotionally, he loved her, whether it was this weird mother or looking after her like she was his daughter, or the actual physical love that he had for her at some point or another. And then it just comes down to the fact that his job and his loyalty to Frank was the most important thing. I mean, you saw Stamper this season go and explore what it would be like to be this other side of him that does exist. You know, he is this person who has the ability to be around family and be a good person. And but ultimately, it's where he belongs is on the dark side.
And do we have, like, I guess with the killing of Rachel, we didn't see the killing on the screen. We didn't get to see that take place. We sort of thought, oh, is she going, well, he's turning around, what's going to happen? And then she just getting buried. Do you know, like, why that decision was made to not actually see Doug physically kill her on the show?
I don't. I mean, I think, you know, I never really question anything that our writers do, because I think they do such an incredible job. But cinematically, I think it's so much stronger if you see that moment where she hears the van and it's just that dread comes over her face, like she knows, you know, and then for her to turn around and then you just cut to the dirt going on her face. Then it leaves it open for the audience to be like, wow, well, what happened? You know, Rachel and I joked about it when we were filming in between takes and stuff, and she was just like, so how'd you kill me? And I was like, I think I choked you. I think I choked you. You couldn't choke me. It takes like 8 minutes to choke someone to death. You couldn't do that. And I was like, I don't think it could take a shovel to your head. So I think I'm going with the choke. we had a pretty good laugh about it.
Yeah, that's good. And yeah, like I'm not saying this in a bad way, but like it was very jarring for the audience, like to go from this looming thing to all of a sudden, bam, she's dead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that the writer, they're just it's such an incredible staff we have. So fortunate. I feel so blessed to be with them.
Who is going to read to Doug in season 4?
I don't know, man. I have day after tomorrow is the first table read for the first 2 episodes, and then the week after that we start filming. God only knows. I'm sure there's gonna be something crazy this year for Doug.
Yeah, it's the big question of season 4 on everyone's mind. Let's talk about getting back together with Frank. And I thought this was a really interesting season, because you've got Doug, who starts the season so far away from Frank. Like he sort of goes in to see him in, I think, the first episode, and Frank's like, oh yes, Doug, whatever you need, like just come and speak to me if you ever want to, like, but like then completely cuts him off, completely gives him the cold shoulder. And he starts off so close with Claire, but by the end of the season, we see Claire has, and him are at complete opposite ends of the spectrum, and it's Doug that's back in that sort of circle of trust with Frank. We sort of see you both sort of not switch places because you have different roles, but what was that like, that sort of progression, sort of at a time when Frank's other closest confidant is slipping away?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting if you think about it from that perspective too. That this is the first time we saw all these characters really fail and fall down, and I think that was really an incredibly interesting thing that they explored with the show. As far as like me with Francis, I mean, that was really bizarre, because I went from doing sometimes 4 scenes a day with him to 4 scenes in a season, and that was like, you know, I would go to work, I would work all day, and the next day he would go and he would work all day, and it was just, we would be, you know, ships in the night, and every now and then we'd get a scene, but man, when we got those scenes together, it was, you know, it was so fun to be back together, especially towards the end when we got to do that stuff where we literally are back together. As far as he and Claire, I mean, that got really crazy at the end, you know, and he needed someone, but he needed, in my opinion, maybe it's just my selfish opinion of my character, but he needed Doug. He was failing without Doug. I'm not saying that all would have been well with Doug, but I think things would have been better for him.
And I think with the Doug and the Claire, when there's friction or distance with Frank, it's very different to anyone else, because I think they're people who, and maybe the only 2 characters on the show that have been on that side of Frank, where they've been aware of how he's manipulating others to such an extent. Right. So when they're getting sort of played by him or pushed around by him, they're probably a bit more perceptive to what's happening.
Sure. I mean, you know, if you really think about it and boil it down, there's probably only two people on earth that Frank truly trusts, and that would be Claire and Doug. So that dynamic alone is something that's really incredible. I think, I don't know, that's kind of tough. You know, I think, I don't know. I think that's it though. I can't imagine him fully trusting anyone else. And I think when you have that sort of power between two people, you know, we both know everything pretty much.
Maybe Freddie in the mix with those two.
I mean, Freddie certainly with his, you know, he'll tell him things that he might not tell either of us, but at the same time, he's not going to tell Freddie about, you know, oh, by the way, the girl in front of the train, that was me.
That's why, like, Freddie's such an interesting character in the show, because he does have so much trust from Frank, but it's such a different relationship from any other one. Like, you know, I love the scene where he was, where the new chief of staff, I forgot his name for a second. Remy, yeah, when Remy sort of comes in and he's chatting with Freddie, and sort of like there's some important announcement, and he goes, oh, no, Freddie's got to finish this amazing story. Like, it's just
what you can say in front of Freddie.
yeah. But anyway, so with the stuff, what was I going to say? Now I think with Claire gone, and you probably don't know everything's happening in season 4. But so you could, hopefully you don't know anything, because then you could speculate more. If you know stuff, you probably can't talk.
Speculate. I don't know.
Okay, good. Frank's going to need Doug more than ever without Claire by his side.
I would certainly think so.
Yeah. What role do you see Doug maybe playing next year on the show?
You know, like I said, I can speculate. I can only imagine. But I mean, I think it's pretty clear at the end of season 3 that he's back. He's his chief of staff again. And, you know, I can only hope selfishly that he gets back to doing the devious deeds that he does to further Frank's cause. You know, they have a lot of work ahead of them if they want to keep the White House.
And I think you spoke about Spacey, that, like, you know, you went from 4 days a week to 4 scenes a season. Next season looks like maybe a little bit more. I don't know. What is it like acting with Kevin on the show? And what's the, like, sort of that dynamic? What's something maybe different about that acting dynamic than you've had with other actors in other things in the past?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, when I got this job, not only did I cry, but I was just over the moon. I mean, I physically did. It was just the greatest gift ever. But I just thought, before I even started filming, I thought to myself, yeah, I'm his chief of staff. I'm going to get to act with Kevin Spacey every single day. You know, it's someone who I have, for my entire career, I've looked up to. I've sort of looked at, like, you know, not that he mentored me, but he was certainly someone that I, you know, wow, I want to be like that guy. Like, he's great. And I was like, I'm going to get to see how he works, you know? And so for me, that's such a treat, just seeing how he approaches his work. And then to get and dance with him every day like that is, it's incredible, man. He's so good. He's so on, he's so alive. And he's really a funny, giving man as well. You know, David Fincher very much set up for us. You know, you bring your A game to work. Everybody works really hard. But when they say cut, I mean, he's the first one to, you know, bust out one of those great impressions or just crack the crew up. I mean, he's a really good guy, and it's such an incredible actor. So for me, it's the greatest gift ever, man. You know, I've had great ones in the past. I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of great people, but not for the period of time that I've worked with him.
And I guess that's like, rather than just doing a movie or like being on a show like this, It's every year. It's 13 episodes, and the way like it's sort of television is becoming, and with Netflix and it's on cable as well. This opportunity to like sort of tell a story is so rich and set a tone and things, and it's almost like it's like a novel like that you're unpacking rather than even like a movie or a play or whatever. In the way the story's being told, what's that like to be part of this story that's just continuing each year with all these chapters?
I mean, it's great. I mean, like I've been on a television show before, not this long, but I've done shows before. But this is different. Like we actually shoot them like little movies. We shoot 2 episodes at a time, and so essentially for 1 calendar month, you're shooting 2 episodes, and to have that luxury, to have 10 days to film an episode, it feels like you're making a film. And they read like that. Like, you get these episodes and you're just like, I can't wait. I'm always emailing Bo, when can I see the next one? When can I see the next one? Because you just want to read it. It's so good and it's so compelling. And then to get to do it, I mean, it's the greatest gift ever, man. And to know that I have a job, like that's the other great part. It's like, whoa, I got little kids and a wife and place here in New York. It's like, and the film's so close to home too. We shoot in Baltimore, and I can drive there in 3 hours. I keep an apartment there, and I just back and forth.
With the we're an awards site at Gold Derby. With the Emmy Awards, House of Cards has done very well with nominations. You've been in the drama series hunt every season. Kevin's been there every season, and it seems like the momentum is growing for the show. It's not like you had a great breakout first season and then second season sort of it dropped off like some shows do. And with Breaking Bad, which has won Best Drama Series the past 2 years, out of the running now. There's an opening for a new show to sort of take that mantle. House of Cards is definitely one of the shows in the mix, with maybe the final season of Mad Men or maybe Game of Thrones. What does that sort of Emmy recognition mean to you? And do you sort of feel that momentum sort of building at the awards?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you had Breaking Bad there, our first 2 years, right? That was their last season. And that was, the way that I look at it, and I really truly mean this, like if your show gets nominated, that's a win. I mean, sure, it'd be really nice for everyone, for House of Cards to bring a trophy home. But in all honesty, like, look how many television shows there are. There's so many shows. There's so many actors. If you get a nomination, that's, I can't even imagine. Like, it's just that's a good for the show itself. Just what a win. Sure, would I like to win? I would love for the show to win. It would be amazing. I'd love to stand on that stage. It would feel incredible, and it would feel great for everyone involved. But I don't know. I don't know if there's momentum. I know that it's just an honor to be in the game, and to get to go. I got to go to the Emmys with my wife last year. We were just like, we're at the Emmys, man. The first year I didn't get to go with her, and the second year I got to bring her. And it was just, I mean, we're calling our folks. It's just like, whoa, we're at the Emmys, man. Taking selfies. It was nuts.
Oh, that's good. And this year, maybe that momentum will carry forward, and you'll get nominated for supporting actor. What would it mean for you to be in that field of supporting actors?
I mean, I can't even wrap my head around that. I would lose my mind. I mean, it would, that pool of actors, those supporting actors this year. I mean, it's incredible. The list goes on and on and on and on of people who are worthy of a nomination, and to even be in these conversations. Honestly, I'm not just saying this. Like, it just feels, it's incredible, man. It's incredible. But if I got nominated, I'd lose my mind.
Yeah. And in some ways, like, as a supporting actor, you've got an even tougher job ahead of you than the lead sometimes, because like the ballot is so long for supporting actor, because like most shows have maybe one lead actor, but there's a lot of shows about 4 or 5 supporting actors.
Right. I mean, it's true. It's certainly a much larger pool. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, like that list is nuts. But you look at the lead actors, even it's just a true testament to what kind of television is being made, and what you were saying earlier about, like, you know, people are making real art on television, and it feels so good to be a part of that. You know, like, this is, you know, I think eventually we're going to see it be where you go to the theater to see the mans, you know, Superman and Batman and the big epic, you know, crazy 3D movies. I have one in the fall called Everest. It'll be on an IMAX 3D screen, you know, like, those are to experience the big things. Otherwise, I think people are totally fine with their big screens at home and watching it. You know, hell, people watching stuff on their computers and iPhones, you know, and that's, you know, so actors are like, you know, you see all the actors are like, I want to do TV, man. It's good. I always say that had Netflix had House of Cards as their 6th or 10th or 15th show, I don't know if I would have got the role of Stamper. I think that there would have probably been some A-list actor who's like, I want that role, and he probably would have got it. You know, I'm glad to have gotten in on the ground floor with the streaming there with Netflix.
Yeah, no. So, and I think that you know, you look at that lineup of best drama series nominees for the past sort of maybe probably longer, but the past couple of years in particular, and you know, you can't tell me that isn't the, like, awards to watch and get excited about, like seeing these great shows going head to head. Yeah,
it's thrilling, man.
Yeah. So I guess looking forward to season 4. It would probably, this is the thing with Netflix, is that, you know, you binge on the season of House of Cards, then you got like another 11 months to get the new season.
Right.
Yeah. What do you think about the whole Netflix model and things like that, of giving the viewer the complete choice over when they watch the show?
Well, I think obviously what Netflix has done, and now they're just, it's going worldwide. You know, they're releasing in all these different countries now. I think it's brilliant. I have to admit, when I first got the job, I mean, Netflix was, you know, me not being so tech savvy. When I got it, you know, 3-4 years ago, this job, it was where you got your DVDs in the mail. You know, you were doing some streaming at that point, but not original content. So I was like, you know, we had Kevin Spacey, we had Robin Wright, David Fincher, Beau Willimon. I knew we were going to make a great product, but I didn't know if anyone was going to see it or not. I was like, oh, we're going to make a cool show. I wonder if anybody will see it. Because Netflix at the time was the only unknown, and now look what they've done. It's incredible, man. And to be honest, at the very beginning, even when we were filming, my good friend Peter Friedlander at Netflix was visiting. We weren't friends at the time. We've since become good friends. He was on set, and I was like, "You really gonna drop all 13 of these at once?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "You don't want to do like 7 and then 6 or something?" And he was like, "No, man, we're giving the viewers what they want. Our viewer wants to watch it now, you know, watch it when they want to watch it and stop when they want to stop. And that's what our viewers want." So, you know, hats off to them. I couldn't see it, but they sure saw it.
Well, you are, like, this House of Cards, this Netflix, a big sort of game changer in the television landscape in a lot of ways, with some other shows too. And Michael, all the best for the Emmys this year. It was great chatting with you. All the best for House of Cards season 4. I've heard a rumor, like, and you don't have to confirm or deny this. I've heard that, like, season 4 could be the last season, just because that would give you 52 chapters, which is a deck of cards.
That would be pretty cool. I hope not. I love my job. Yeah. But that would be kind of cool to end it on 52. No, you know, I maybe I think it'd be kind of cool if they did 52 and then maybe 2 more for the Jokers. That might be. Yeah. Might be 2 more seasons for the Jokers. Yeah. No, I don't have any idea. I just, you know, like I said, this is a great job, and I hope it goes as long as it can go and remain as good as it is. So. Yeah. Yeah, well, all the best, Michael. We hope to see you up. We hope to see you in the mix this year at the Emmys and House of Cards, putting a real attack on that top prize. Thank you, man. Thank you very much, and thanks, Gold Derby. All right. All right. Take care, man. Yeah, you too.